Hi, I'm Wadden Harp, and today we're going to be discussing digital signage, what it is, developments in the technology, and the various uses for it. This is from Chapter 10 in Communication Technology Updates and Fundamentals by Grant and Meadows. We can go ahead and begin. So, I commute to work every day. It's about a 20 to 30 minute commute. On my drive, I always pass a ton of billboards. Traditional paper billboards, billboards with flashing lights, electronic billboards that switch ads every couple of seconds, and so on. They line the highway. I noticed that some caught my attention more than others. You know why? Because they were engaging. They had moving advertisements, bright contrasts, and big colors. They were always changing, keeping me wondering what was going to show up next. I remember the ads from these billboards versus the billboards that stayed the same all the time. These electronic billboards are an example of digital signage. As you click to the next slide, let's keep this in mind as we discover what digital signage is. Electronic billboards, like I was previously speaking about, is just the tip of the iceberg. The Digital Screen Media Association defines digital signage as the use of electronic displays or screens to deliver entertainment, information, and/or advertisement in public or private spaces outside the home. The Digital Signage Federation goes a little deeper when it defines digital signage as a network of digital displays that is centrally managed and addressable for targeted information, entertainment, merchandising, and advertising. Digital signage is commonly referred to as DOOH, or digital signage outside of the home. A couple of examples of digital signage include electronic billboards, interactive menus, electronic signs outside of businesses, and airport signs. These are some diverse items. So what do digital signage items like interactive menus and airport signs have in common? They're key components. All digital sign systems include the display screen, the content for display, and some kind of content management. Okay, so this is a lot of information at one time. We're going to break it down on the next slide by first addressing displays and content. There are various types of displays used in digital signage. LCD and LED LCDs are the most common type of screen, but occasionally plasma, OLED, and projection systems will be used. Screens can be flat or curved and can include touch and gesture interactivity. Screens range in size from a small little screen to a big stadium scoreboard. Okay, so we see that there are a lot of options for screens. What's projected on these screens? Content, of course. Content displayed on digital signage can take many forms. Digital signs can contain text and images. This is the only similarity between traditional paper signs and digital signs. We now branch off to see that digital signage content can include video, animation, RSS feeds, and social networking. Keep in mind all of these neat content that can be displayed through digital signage as we flip to the next slide, where we're going to look at the advantages of digital signage. First off, digital signs can be changed quickly, while traditional signs can't. Can you imagine looking up at your traditionally made billboard after everything had been plastered up and you noticed a mistake? You would have to rip the entire thing down and make everything all over again to post up. If you notice a typo or a mistake on a digital billboard, you just have to access the system that content is being held on and change the content. So, content can be changed quickly with digital signage, but it can also be delivered in a variety of ways besides a static image. Signs can be interactive with a touch or gesture control. You know that amazing freedom when you go to a Coca-Cola freestyle machine where you get to choose exactly what kind of drink you want with different flavors and everything, and that's digital signage, and they're using touch control to allow you to choose your drink. Digital signage can also include technologies that allow the system to recognize the viewer's age and sex. Some even include facial recognition technology. So, with all of these personalized details and demographics being derived from digital technology, it's no wonder that these new technologies allow digital signage to deliver more targeted images in a more efficient way. If a 65-year-old man uses a digital sign technology identifying his age, he may be supplied information regarding Medicare or retirement homes. Individuals can have information tailored to them by the derivation of information from digital signage technology. Digital signage can also have multiple messages delivered over time. As you can see, digital signage is of the future. There are so many new, neat components to it. Keep that in mind as we move on to the next slide to compare old school, traditional signage to digital signage. The table in the slide is referenced from page 118 in our textbook, Communication Technology Update Fundamentals. Okay, so traditional paper signs display a single message over several weeks, while digital signage displays multiple messages for a desired period of time. For this, you'll have to look at your organization. Are you simplistic and want one message to be projected to the public? Or are you a diverse organization and you want various messages to be projected? Something to consider when deciding between traditional and digital signage. Second, traditional paper signs don't allow for audience participation, while digital signage does. In a restaurant, are you wanting to have your menu typed up on a piece of paper and have the waiter be the personal involvement taking your order? Or do you want to pick out your meal and order it off of a tablet? This is something current restaurants are considering. Third, with traditional paper signs, changing content requires new sign creation, while in digital signage, content can be changed quickly and easily. How time critical is your content? Are you promoting an event in 2 weeks, or are you advertising for a 50-year-old business? How time relevant your content is may sway your decision to go traditional or digital. Traditional paper signs are two-dimensional, while digital signage has mixed media. Do you need mixed media? Images, text, graphics, or video. Well, mixed media dramatically enhance your sign, such as continuously showing photos of food or as you wait for your table to inspire your order. Take the Cheesecake Factory, for example. As I sit and wait for my table, I'm taunted by several televisions displaying different meals I could order. Some of those photos that skim by, oh man, they look completely different than I would have thought just looking at the menu. I've ordered items on the menu simply by seeing them on the screens. And then, here's what the big debate is about. Cost. Will paying so much for digital signage be worth it? Traditional paper signs are much less costly than their new hip competitor, digital signage. Would there be a return on investment, or will it look cool but not be worth it? These are all aspects to consider when wondering traditional paper signs or digital signs. As we move on to our next slide, we will address engaging techniques through digital signage. First is day parting. Day parting is when the day is divided into segments so a targeted message can be delivered to a target audience at the right time. Examples of this include digital billboards delivering advertising for breakfast during the morning rush hour or messages about new movies on Friday before the weekend. Day parting is aware of the flow of traffic by placing longer ads in the evening during stopped or slow traffic and quicker ads during midday to accommodate faster moving traffic. Interactivity is another engaging technique used by digital signage. Touch and gestures through mobile devices is a popular one. Viewers can move content from a sign to a mobile device using a near-field communication or Wi-Fi. This connects the advertisement to the consumer. It's now on their phone. Not only does digital signage technology target what types of data present information and connect consumers to signage through mobile devices, but digital signage can track individual activity. Audience metrics can be captured, such as dwell time, how long a person looks at the sign, age and sex of the user, what messages were sent interactively, and more. It's shown, once again, how specific and personalized digital signage can be. As we move on to the next slide, think about all of the great innovations that we're discovering about digital signage. There's some cons to using this technology as well. Advantages to using digital signage include having multiple forms of content, allowing interactivity, multiple messages, and day parting, easily changeable content, and viewer metrics. The disadvantage to using digital signage, you may ask? cost. Upfront costs are much higher for digital signs than traditional ones. Of course, it's an investment. You're saying the cost of the digital sign will be paid back by the business I get from it. But if you can't say that, digital signage may not be for you. The question is, when do you decide it's worth it to invest in digital signage for your organization? I'm a marketing coordinator for a fish and game preserve, Big Woods Fish and Game. I spoke to my boss about the possibility of paying for a digital billboard for a couple of months that lined a high-traffic interstate. He immediately shot it down. Too expensive, he said. Cost is too high. It's too risky for him. He didn't think much of the return. One membership at Big Woods is $35 in revenue. That would have paid for most of our advertising on this billboard. But the cost outweighed the benefit. In this changing society, deciding what's best for a company may not necessarily be black and white. Budgets are tight, but ambitions may be large. We have to compromise at a medium. We ended up investing in a tablet for members to use in their lodges. We invested in a digital signage technology. We knew we will reap the profit, the continued membership of our clients. Let's move on to our next slide where we will discuss various digital signage systems. There are two types of systems, premise-based and software as a service. With premise-based systems, the entire digital system is in-house. This includes the content creation, delivery, and management. All are done on location. Advantages of using a premise-based software include control, customization, and security. Also, there isn't an ongoing cost for service. Although this can be convenient, having everything on location, it can be generally expensive and is becoming less popular. Software as a service, or SaaS systems, use the internet to manage and deliver content. Customers subscribe to the server, and the service usually provides a content management system that can be accessed over the internet with a regular fee to continue the service. There are some advantages to using a software as a service system. Templates. They can be used providing an easy way to prevent appealing content. Customers can also upload their own content. Members pay the software as a service provider a regular fee to continue using the service. Both systems have advantages and disadvantages. This is why typically these systems are used together as a sort of mix to capitalize on the benefits of both. So, now that we know the two major digital signage technology systems, let's move to the next slide where we will discuss the actual technology that makes digital signage work. First, there's the screen or display. Then there's a form of media player that connects to the screen to project the content. This content is added to the media player using devices such as flash drives and DVD. But usually the content is created, managed, and delivered using a server on site or accessed over the internet. Remember what we just discussed, software as a service or SaaS systems? That would be the system used to upload this content. Let's review real quick. There's three main parts of digital signage. Those three main parts are screen, content, and networks content management. Now that we know what digital signage is and the technology behind it, let's break it down in the next slide to discuss the three different types of digital signage. First, we have point of sale signage. We call it like we see it. It's signage that sells. We see digital signage like this in restaurants as a menu board, digital price tags like ones you may see at JCPenney, or point of payment in the mall. Secondly, we have point of wait digital signage. This signage is placed in areas where people are waiting and there is dwell time. When you're waiting for what feels like forever in a doctor's office, you'll look at right about anything, and if you don't have to look at the magazine issued 3 years ago, you won't. These doctor's offices may have a digital sign rotating information about the human body, or at least something to keep you occupied. Wait digital signage can also be located in a taxi, an elevator, or bank line. Please remember for these examples that these are just a few from the book and not an exhaustive list. Third, we have a point of transit digital signage. This is digital signage targeting people on the move. I was recently in an airport. As I swiftly walked to my departing gate, I noticed digital signs everywhere. Obviously, there were rows of blue screen TVs announcing arrival and departure gates, but there were little signs announcing new restaurants and tourism in the town. They were everywhere, and they got my attention. Other point-of-transit digital signage includes billboards, signs at bus shelters, and store windows. They're everywhere. There seems to be a digital signage technology for any part of the day, anywhere you're at. Let's go to the next slide where we will discuss where it all started. The ball got rolling when the P.T. Barnum Museum first used the illuminated signs in 1840. Neon signs emerged in the 1920s, and electronic scoreboards weren't far behind as they were introduced in 1965. Traditional billboards have been used since the early 1800s and eventually got an upgrade to being illuminated so that they could be visible at night. The development of the VCR contributed to digital signage technology, as the technology provided a means to deliver custom content to television screens. Okay, so as we move on to the next slide, think of the first big part of digital signage, the screen. There are copious amounts of screen technology that have been developed and is in the beginning stages. The development of projection and flat screen displays advanced digital signage. Then as screen technologies developed, so did content delivery. DVDs replaced VCRs, and then media servers and flash devices replaced DVDs. Compressed digital forms such as JPEG, GIF, FLV, MOV, and MP3 allowed signage to be quickly updated over a network. Technology is getting faster, more complex, and easier to operate. With the development of content delivery, we also have the development of interactivity with screens. This began with the manufacturing ATM machines and proceeded to integrate the market through devices such as PDAs. As you know now, touch interactive screen technology is almost everywhere. It has transformed and developed beyond simply functional means. Let's keep that screen theme in mind as we go to and flip to the next slide to discuss digital billboards. I know y'all have seen them. Planted on almost every major intersection or highway on or off ramp. Digital billboards first appeared in 2005 and immediately made an impact. Federal legislation tied federal funding to the placement and regulation of billboards. States also have their own regulations regarding outdoor advertising, including billboards. With the rise of digital billboards comes the question, will they distract drivers? Well, certain regulations have been placed to ensure that distraction is minimized from digital billboards. Billboards that have flashing, intermittent, or moving lights are prohibited. The Federal Transportation Agency determined that digital billboards did not violate that rule as long as the images are on for at least 4 seconds and aren't too bright. Now, as we move into this next slide, think back into what information some digital signage technology has the ability to derive. Age, sex, even race. There's a concern for privacy as digital signage collects data from viewers. The digital signage privacy standards help preserve public trust in digital signage and set the stage for a new era of consumer-friendly interactive marketing. The standards cover direct and indirect data, including names, addresses, date of birth, and images of individuals. Data is not knowingly collected on minors under 13. Let's move on to the next slide, keeping the theme of collecting data from digital signage technology. Audience can be determined through digital signage technology. There are 3 levels of audience measurement. Level 1, audience counting. Level 2, audience targeting. And level 3, audience identification and/or profiling. Level 1, audience counting, involves technologies that record dwell time but no facial recognition. Level 2, audience targeting, involves information being collected and aggregated and used to tailor advertisements in real time. Level 3, audience identification and/or profiling, is when information is collected on an individual basis. This information is retained and has links to individual identity, such as a credit card number. The standards recommends that level 1 and 2 have an opt-out consent, while level 3 has an opt-in consent. As we move into the next slide, we're going to discuss the recent developments in digital signage. More companies are rushing to develop more interactive and engaging signage. Society must be becoming more immune to digital signage. We're used to the same old, and companies are having to one-up each other to stay at the front end of technology. Touch and gesture control, facial recognition, and augmented reality technologies are being incorporated into signage. Mobile and social networking technology is also being increasingly incorporated into digital signage. As signage advances and develops, there are increasing attempts at regulating it. Motion control technology used in digital signage is also being used in video games. Instead of being a part of advertising, in this instance, it's actually a part of the product. Motion control technology is just one way that we can interact with digital signage. As we move into the next slide, we're going to discuss interacting with digital signage and the societal benefits of it. 2 9-screen digital video walls with gesture technology were placed in a subway station. An eyeball tracked the movement of individuals, and once the individuals stopped, the scene would change to a wooded area, and they could create fire with their arm movements. This digital sign was used to promote a new show, The Witches of East End. The sign was proven successful at engaging the audience. Josh Cohen, the sign creator, stated, "But when we're able to allow people to interact, whether it's gesture, mobile, social, touch, photo, capture augmented reality, it allows consumers to have a personal connection to the advertisement, to the client, to create what we call a lasting impression and increase the opportunity for them to share via mobile and social," which I think is a big part of the digital signage interactive opportunities, which are sometimes missed in just your traditional signage. So now digital signage is competing against itself. First, it was traditional signage versus digital signage, and now it's interactive digital signage versus digital signage. Interactive digital signage allows customers to have a personal connection, leaving with a lasting impression. Advertisers are interacting and engaging their potential customers now. Our society needs to be engaged and involved to be impressed by what is being presented. It must take a special company, though, to benefit from interactive digital signage. This is a specific, expensive investment. What kind of companies can use this technology where the return on investment will be positive? Just mega companies like Coca-Cola and Disney? It's interesting that the larger companies that are creating a more personalized, engaging experience. Big companies are becoming small, strategic companies through the use of interactive digital signage. They're probably personalizing the experiences as well by gathering data of the users. So we've talked a lot about digital signage, how it can be used in businesses, how it can be used in advertising, and so on. Now, as we move on to the next slide, we'll see that digital signage can also be used to help people in rehabilitation. Digital signage can be used for medical rehabilitation for stroke victims and for children with cerebral palsy to improve balance, range of movement, and hand-eye coordination. Let's move on to the next slide, where we will be discussing the various information that digital signage can gather and the analytics it can create from the information. The Audience Impression Metric Suite for digital signage develops audience analytics and metrics. It uses audience identification technology rather than facial recognition in order to ensure privacy. No personal information is captured, nor are images recorded. The system collects age, sex, and dwell time so messages can be targeted. This is an age for targeting marketing. This can be used for personalized marketing. Identifying specific audiences ensures specific strategic messages, not broad, vague messages. As we flip to the next slide, we're going to add a few more uses for digital signage to the list. Who knew that all of this new technology could be so diverse and useful? First off, the Phoenix Airport is using digital signage for facial recognition. It identifies passengers and compares their images with passport photos. Companies are also connecting advertisements with mobile devices. Clear Channel Outdoor launched an advertising program called Connect, enabling companies to connect with consumers via QR codes and connect tags. Consumers leave the physical advertisement, but they still have it with them on their phones to interact with. The gap between consumer and advertisements is closing. Digital signage even allows for mobile payment with vending machines using NFC technology. Digital signage has marketing, advertising components, and functionality components as well. Do companies use this functionality component as a method of marketing? I mean, is the pull for technology within a company to make it more appealing to the public? Will a company with digital signage technology attract more consumers than a similar company without digital signage technology? It seems that digital signage technology adds credibility. It shows innovation and ambition of a company versus a company sticking to traditional ways of doing things. I like to see companies branching out and using digital signage technology. But consider companies targeting older crowds like nursing homes. When's the last time you saw a touchscreen activity board or announcement digital sign? I haven't. They aren't the target audience here. We are. As we move to the next slide, we're going to address an up-and-coming digital signage technology, augmented reality. According to the book, augmented reality is a live, direct or indirect view of physical, real-world environment whose elements are augmented by computer generation sensory input such as sound, video, graphics, or GPS data. Pepsi used augmented reality in one of its new promotional events. Viewers looked through a transparent sign to see animated characters interacting with people and objects on the street. This technology was used to promote and integrate consumers. Another example of using augmented reality is in a clothing store. Why hassle with trying on clothes when you can look at yourself in them through augmented reality? Skipping the hassle of trying on clothes and probably looking 10 pounds lighter through the augmented reality keeps you in a better mood and probably more likely to purchase the clothes. As we move on to the next slide, we will see another way digital signage can integrate consumers. Social media is a powerful tool. Digital signage can have Twitter feeds, Instagram pictures, Facebook posts, etc. presented on a screen. I was at an ice cream parlor that had a digital sign projecting Instagram posts of pictures of consumers at the shop. It had written above, "Take a photo and post it to Instagram. Be sure to tag us so you can show up on here." Not only will I get the excitement of seeing myself on a digital screen at this ice cream parlor, but I just advertised for free to all my followers this ice cream parlor. Text message is used to connect and engage digital signage viewers as well. For example, American Idol viewers were asked to vote for their favorite artist by texting a number of their pick. This connected viewers to the show. We usually only text those close to us, and now we made that connection with a TV show. We have a say in what's done. Viewers are given power and an ability to connect to the show. With so much new digital signage technology, the screens have to keep up. Let's move on to the next slide where we will discuss advances in screen technology. There have been advances in 4K and Ultra HD screens, basically making the resolution clearer, even at a very large size. There's a downfall though, with these advances in screen technology. Remember when the Blu-ray came out and you had to go out and buy Blu-ray DVDs to really maximize the quality of the Blu-ray player? It's the same here. Content needs to be produced in 4K and Ultra HD formats to capitalize on these high-quality screens. Almost every digital signage provider now provides an Ultra HD media player to accommodate these new needs. Everyone has to adjust and invest in new technological advances. When is the improvement just not worth it anymore? Will Ultra HD versus normal HD make that much of a difference to consumers? Or is it just a scam for some screen industry to continue making money, knowing someone will pay for it? I understand that we're in a changing society, but do these changes make much of a difference? Curved and transparent screens sound really cool. They're a great advancement in technology. But simply, are they worth it to advertisers? Are they worth the cost of the screen and modified content? As we move on to the next slide, we will be discussing the current status of digital signage. It's a profitable industry, all right. Revenues are expected to reach $17.1 billion by 2017. According to a study by Arbitron, 68% of people see a sign every day. That's a lot of people and a lot of signs. Studies of effectiveness of digital signage have found that it beats out radio, magazines, traditional billboards, and television for advertising recall. The list of industries that use digital signage is broad. It's not a narrow industry, but it's a strategic industry. The fact that it beats out other entities for advertising recall magnifies its effectiveness. Digital signage is doing what it says it'll do: attract and integrate consumers. We've heard about the latest technologies in digital signage, but there's still more to watch for. Trends worth noting include increased interactivity with touch, multi-touch and gesture, more curved, transparent, and Ultra HD displays, increased use of mobile technologies, and increased consolidation with the industry. Interactive features are developing at a fast pace. The challenge is developing signage that effectively utilizes the features, or even that works properly. The question is will Ultra HD displays take off? Will people notice or care about perceived resolution changes, and will the technology mature enough to reduce the price of displays? Let's wrap this up. We've discussed digital signage, the technology behind it, and the various uses for it versus traditional signage. The future of the industry seems a little blurry, but it's about to shift drastically because of company consolidation, maybe a part of it. Google may enter the market, etc. The companies behind the product will change, and the technology will continue to mature and evolve. What an exciting season of digital technology. So, my question for you is two parts. First, where have you seen a specific company use digital signage technology? Second, did this impact you as a consumer? For example, did you see a billboard coerce you to walk into a store? Or do you go to Chili's just because they have a digital menu? How are you impacted as a consumer by digital technology? Simply put. Guys, thank you for bearing with me as we dissected about as much I feel we could in regards to digital signage technology. You guys rock. Have a great day.